Jesus prophesies how Peter will deny him 3 different times in the same night. We're going to read Mark chapter 14, verses 29 through 30 to get it started on how Jesus foretold Peter would deny him 3 different times. That's Mark chapter 14, verses 29 through 30, which reads, "But Peter said to him," referring to Jesus, "Even if all the others are stumbled, I will not be." At that, Jesus said to him, referring to Peter, "Truly, I say to you that today, yes, on this very night, before a rooster crows twice, you will disown me 3 times." But he, Peter, kept insisting, "If I have to die with you, I will by no means disown you." Also, all the others began to say the same thing. And that's verse 31. Now, Peter was saying how he would not deny Jesus. Even though the other ones would, he wouldn't. And Jesus gave a prophecy about how he would, not 1 time, not 2 times, but 3 times, emphasizing how Peter will thoroughly, with emphasis, disown Jesus and deny him. Even after Jesus gave this prophecy and said it was going to happen, Peter went on to insist it won't happen. And that spirit of Peter insisting it won't happen spread out to the other disciples who heard Jesus' prophecy, and they also joined in repeating the same thing Peter was saying, how this prophecy is not going to come true. Well, let's see, did it happen? We know that Jesus foretold it to happen, and specifically 3 times he says Peter will deny him. Let's go to Mark, the same chapter, chapter 14, and let's start off reading verse 65 through 72. It reads, "And some started to spit on him," referring to Jesus, "and to cover his face." So they covered Jesus' face and hit him, referring to Jesus, with their fist, and say to him, referring to Jesus, "Prophesy." And slapping him, Jesus, in the face, the court attendants took Jesus. Now, while Peter was below in the courtyard, one of the servant girls of the high priest came. On seeing Peter warming himself, she looked straight at him, Peter, and said, "You too were with the Nazarene, this Jesus." But he, Peter, denied it, saying, neither do you know him, nor do I neither do I know him, nor do I understand what you are talking about. And he went outside to the entryway. So I'm going to stop right there. That's the first time Peter denied Jesus at verse 68. And not only did he deny him, he moved to another area. Verse 69 says, there the servant girl saw him and again began to say to those standing by, this is one of them, referring to Jesus' disciples. Again, he, Peter, was denying it. And after a little while, those standing by again began saying to Peter, now on the third time there's something special. Certainly you are one of them, for you are in fact a Galilean. But he, Peter, started to curse and swear, I do not know this man of whom you speak. So I'm going to stop right there. In verse 71, Peter, it says how he starts to curse and swear. So after he was tested the third time on if he would deny Jesus or not, a reaction came up for him to start to curse and swear. So Peter picked up it was put in high emphasis after he was tested the third time. So he took it up to the next level, because after the third time he felt high emphasis after being questioned, did he know Jesus or not? In verse 72, now it speaks about, it says, immediately a rooster crowed a second time, and Peter recalled what Jesus had said to him. Before a rooster crows twice, you will disown me 3 times. And he, Peter, broke down and began to weep. End quote. So what do we see from this? We see that Jesus foretold Peter to deny him 3 times. And we see that when it actually happened, when Peter was tested on the 3rd time, he became severely grieved and even began to curse and swear. So something happened after the 3rd time he was tested, where it says he was grieved. And also after the 3rd time, Jesus turned around and looked at Peter, as the Luke account points out at Luke chapter 22 verses 55 through 62. Jesus could have turned around after Jesus denied him the 2nd time or the 1st time. However, his reaction was after the 3rd time. Jesus waited until Peter denied him with emphasis the 3rd time.